the Associate Editor for News of the Daily Princetonian. Welcome back to Reporter's Notebook. I'm here today with staff writer Molly Breen.
Hi.
And today we're going to be discussing the recently issued report of the Eden Club Task Force. On the morning of May 3rd, the Eden Club Task Force issued its report, and today we're going to be looking at what has been called by the Eden Club Task Force the dark side of the Eden Clubs. So I hear that there will be a newly proposed BICR system.
That's right.
Can you explain this a little bit?
Well, the new BICR system is actually how BICR used to be. So, I'm not exactly sure when they changed it, but back in like the 50s and 60s and 70s, there were also like a lot more clubs on the street. There were 18, I think, at one point, and BICR lasted a really long time. It was like a couple weeks, and you would just go around to every single club and you'd BICR every single club. So 3 weeks later, you're down to 2-3 clubs that want you, and then you rank the clubs based on what you want, and they sort of rank BICRees based on who they want. So it really works like Rush does at a lot of schools. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what the new plan tries to emulate. Right. The new plan isn't extremely specific as of now, but they recommend for BICRees to submit a ranked list of what clubs they would want to join, and that way they can sort of be matched to a club.
It's like a match system.
Yeah.
And have you spoken with any of the Eden Club presidents? What do they have to say about this?
I've spoken to some presidents, and I actually spoke to other people involved, and some concerns mm-hmm. that have arisen about just how the system will work. One is that people aren't really sure of the logistics, whether because back when this system was in place, every single club was a BICR club. Mm-hmm. So under this system, would there only be this pool for just like 5 BICR clubs? Right. Would the current sign-in clubs completely recuse themselves mm-hmm. from this process? Right. There's that question. Also, there's the question of like, how would they just like handle the volume of BICRees? Right. So, how would discussions work? How long would discussions last? How long would each candidate be discussed? There's just a lot of, technicalities that go along with this that still need to be hashed out. Also, there has been some just like outright opposition mm-hmm. to the new proposal. The task force report really emphasized the fact that all of the clubs are different. They all have really different membership, different atmospheres, and one criticism of this kind of match system mm-hmm. is that there's the possibility that people would get matched to a club that they don't really want to join. Right. And that system would really undermine the sense of community in a club if you had, a contingent of people there who didn't want to be there.
So how likely is it that this new and revolutionary, well, not revolutionary because we're just going back to the way it was, but how likely is it that this is going to happen?
Well, these are just recommendations made by the Eden Club Task Force. And, it's up to the clubs themselves, the graduate boards, mm-hmm. The current membership, and the ICC to decide, how they want to interpret, the report's findings, mm-hmm. What that means.
And who would you say opposed the Eden Club Task Force's report and their promotion of this match system? Who was the biggest opponent, would you say?
Of the people I spoke to, and this appears in the article, mm-hmm. Tower President Martin Sheeler isn't a huge fan of the match system.
So if the Tower President isn't a huge fan, that's already 1/5 of the BICR clubs gone,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, it's true.
So will Martin Sheeler is he gonna write this whole thing off single-handedly? What do you think?
I don't know if he has veto power.
Right.
But, and I don't know what some of the other...
But there has to be consensus, right?
Oh, for this kind of system to work, there would have to be, I think, a pretty major consensus.
So it sounds like to me we're looking at a long, hard road ahead of us.
Well, I mean, I guess it also depends on what graduate boards think,
Mhm.
because, you know, they play
They
a
have
really
say too.
active role. Yeah.
Great. Thank you for joining us this reading period on Reporter's Notebook. Please watch our next installment and our final installment next week.